Hello, 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 all of you beautiful nerds from around the world, and welcome to the morning stream here on the Den of Nerds Live, the very best way to start your nerdy day. On today's show, I'm not really sure what we're going to talk about. I got a couple things on my mind. It's Friday. Seems like all is going well in the world, in the universe, when it comes to the Star Wars fandom. Not too much craziness coming in. But in all seriousness, yes, I am going to... I'm doing it. I'm doing the Star Wars rant. You guys know, if you've been watching the show, if you've been watching the content, I've been quite bothered by a lot of things going on in the Star Wars community, quite bothered by what's going on in the Star Wars fandom. You guys know. And everybody's been like, hey, give us that rant, Josh, give us that rant. I've been very reluctant. I have not wanted to do it. I do not want to do it. But enough is enough. I want to be completely serious, too. Chat, pause the music. Well, first, before you pause the music, let's say hi to everybody. How we doing today, guys? Stormbreaker's here. Marvel Maniac. Lucas is here. Coachella Coastal Music Major. Mike Porter. Sam's here. AFK Bard. Lucas Trinity Maverick. Mr. Deeds Lavis. Harvey. James Fanjecture. Kendall. Sam Steve. So many beautiful people here, man. Sorry if I missed your name. What's up, everybody? Welcome. Okay, look. I'm going to be 100% serious. This is going to get really crazy. Okay? I honest to God, if you don't like explicit language, oh, Jacob's Quest is here too. Sorry, buddy. If you don't like explicit language, if you don't like people getting way too fired up about Star Wars, this is not going to be the stream for you. You know? Gotta be honest. Like, it's just not going to be for you. I don't think everybody's going to like what I have to say. But you know what? I gotta fucking say it. As much as I love to be on the light side, and this delicious Taylor Lane organic coffee, the official coffee of the morning streams here on the Den of Nerds, go to taylorlane.com and use the code NERDS10 at checkout for 10% off, and so that they know we sent you. Yeah, that usually does it for me. Usually a little sip of the Taylor Lane will put me back on the light side. But not today. Not today. Because as much as I love to live on the light side, I believe in balance. And I believe sometimes you need the dark side. You don't know the power of an internet rant. My lawyers have asked me to read this. The following segment is done for entertainment purposes. The views expressed do not necessarily represent the views of people that work at the Den of Nerds or the overall views of the Den of Nerds, LLC. Please direct all discomfort and general butthurt to our social media channels. R.I.P. Ken Cologne. Good luck, buddy. I've tried really hard not to freak out about Star Wars fans. You know? In general, right now, everybody's going through a lot. The world's crazy. And so I'm trying not to get on too many people. I know things are crazy. People are maybe not acting at their best. But honest to God, enough is enough. The recent roller coaster ride that I have been on with getting really fed up with the fans started with some comments made by Sam Witwer. It has very little to do with what Sam Witwer said. It has to do with how people took it. It was really, really frustrating. Then next up came the comments that Dave Filoni made. The end of the second episode of The Gallery, the Mandalorian documentary, that beautiful little explanation of the end of The Phantom Menace, the Duel of the Fates, and explaining that and how it tied into Return of the Jedi and the ending. It was beautiful. I then saw some people online talking about how this was rudimentary, that everybody should know this. This is nothing new. Dave Filoni is saying something that should be obvious, and it worries me. It bothers me, some people said. That some fans think it's so cool, so new, so illuminating. And that attitude frustrated me. But then I saw people talking about how this was gatekeeping. How this was literally gatekeeping. And that by Dave saying this, he was being elitist when it came to Star Wars. And all of this stuff is like, it's irking me. You know what I mean? But I'm keeping calm. It's irking me, but I'm keeping calm. Then Star Wars Theory does a video breaking down what happened with Dave Filoni, that whole situation, and talking about how awesome it is, how epic it is. And let me just say right off the bat that I don't agree with everything that Star Wars Theory says. I don't agree with everything that Star Wars Theory does. But my honest opinion here is that we are lucky as a community that that is the guy that has the biggest Star Wars YouTube channel in the world. We're lucky it's that guy. That guy embodies the Jedi-like principles that I think George would want of the biggest Star Wars YouTuber out there. He's compassionate. He is understanding. He is slow to anger. He's very reasonable. So we're lucky that that is the guy that has the biggest Star Wars YouTube channel out there. And when I saw that people came out of the woodwork and tried to talk about how this guy was toxic, how this guy was a part of the problem, and this whole thread with this AB whatever douche that's going on this diatribe about how Star Wars Theory represents the worst side of the fandom and all these different things. It has driven me absolutely mad. I cannot fucking stand how the Star Wars fan base has become this battleground of narratives. This battleground of narratives. Everything must fit into my narrative as a Star Wars fan. Let me give you an example. By the way, this is not going to go the way you think. In Star Wars Theory's video, he's talking about how he actually got death threats on the Discord and had to shut his Discord down because he got death threats from people that were mad that he liked Episode 9. I turn around and I start seeing people on Twitter selectively pulling that part of the video out, talking about that on Twitter, ignoring the toxicity coming from their own side in this stupid fan war, and trying to point out that it was unbelievable that people that didn't like The Rise of Skywalker gave death threats to Star Wars Theory because he said he liked Episode 9. That is exactly part of the problem. People are only putting up stuff on Twitter, only liking stuff, only talking about stuff that fits their narrative when it comes to the divide in the Star Wars fan base. They're toxic over there. We're not toxic over here. I can't fucking stand it. There was this post in the thread that theory brings up. It's this AB douchebag, whatever his face is, person. This is something that he retweeted in this thread, talking about how people in the Star Wars fandom that like to camp out to go see a Star Wars movie or do these crazy fanatical things, that they actually like are a part of the problem. That fan entitlement, that gatekeeping is toxic and a part of the problem. Now, there is some truth to toxicity and fandom. We're going to get there in a second. But let me take that same logic that this person espoused to destroy that point. You say people that camp out for Star Wars movies like camping out more than they like Star Wars. I say people that are starting Star Wars drama like drama more than they like Star Wars. Can I get an amen? Thanks, Chet. Guys, there's this like truths in fandom, man. There's stuff going on in fandom that nobody wants to talk about. Do you guys know where the word fandom comes from? Do you know the etymology of that word? The word fan traces back to fanatic, which traces back to a Latin word called fanum, which literally translates to something like sanctuary or temple. Okay? There's this thing that happened in the Star Wars fandom that like nobody wants to talk about. After The Force Awakens happened, there were a bunch of new Star Wars fans that came to the fandom. Nothing wrong with that. Welcome, I say. Welcome to the fandom. But it feels like the attitude of anti-gatekeeping got taken to the extreme in this way where people that had spent years in the Star Wars fan base, people that had spent money, time, energy in the Star Wars fan base, that when the new fans came in, they took this attitude of anti-gatekeeping to the absolute extreme and tried to make people feel bad for feeling as though they were more of a hardcore fan than the newcomers. It's like they came into the clubhouse, the new people came into the clubhouse that was built by the old school Star Wars fans. These people come into the clubhouse and they take this feeling that they had, that they weren't exactly welcome and that all of these other people were holding all this stuff over their heads. And they took that to the absolute extreme and tried to make the people in the clubhouse that built the damn thing feel bad for having all of this investment in time in Star Wars and feeling as though that made them somewhat of an authority on the Star Wars lore. And it's like they got all of those people and put them in a group over there and tried to make them feel badly about that. They started taking down the Darth Vader pictures on the wall in the clubhouse and started putting up pictures of Rey. And nobody wants to talk about it because, yeah, gatekeeping is bad. Totally get it. Theory talked about in his video how he even had that experience when he was younger. Oh, you don't know enough about Star Wars. You know, you're just a basic fan. You know, here's all these things that I know about Star Wars, therefore I'm more of a fan than you. Yeah, that stuff's toxic. But to take that idea and take it to its all the way extreme and to not even be able to acknowledge that there's a bunch of new Star Wars fans out there that are trying to attack the very idea of being an old school Star Wars fan, it makes me sick. It makes me sick, man. This doesn't happen in the Marvel fandom. You know, it doesn't. It doesn't happen in the Marvel fandom. Like, Nobody comes into the Marvel fandom and they're like, "Oh, you're a comic book reader," or "Oh, you've been watching the movies since 2008." Nobody comes at these people and says, "Well, you know, your stuff's not as valid. You know, my experience at the surface level is just as valid, and therefore I'm not interested in what you have to say about comics, comic book lore, or the movies." No, that doesn't happen. When Marvel fans come into the MCU as a newcomer into the fandom, they're asking the comic book fans, "Hey, man, what do you know about the comics? Tell me how this is in the comics." Or they talk to the fans that have been watching the movies since 2008. "Where should I start? What movies are the best? What should I watch before this movie comes out in theater? If I only have this much time, what can I do?" It's so much more communal. People in this fandom are only talking about stuff, bringing stuff up, and selectively taking out things. Like people are going to selectively take out stuff from this rant that supports their narrative. Like when the Sam Witwer thing came out, and this dude waited 2 years before he said anything about The Last Jedi. This dude comes out and he's talking about how for him, that's not Luke, you know, for him. For him, that ending, that's not really it. You know, Rey melting the face of Palpatine, never going to be as good as Luke Skywalker throwing down his weapon in the face of his mortal enemy. And what happened with that? These two sides of this fan war, they took the selective parts of that and they held it up as ammunition in this fucking stupid-ass fan war. Some people were like, "Oh, he clearly agrees with what our side thinks about the sequel trilogy. Let's hold that up." Completely ignoring within every statement he made that he doesn't want to yuck anybody's yum, that if it brings you fulfillment and enjoyment, that's great. This is just my opinion. I'm not trying to say this is the way that it is, but I just want to speak my opinion. They completely ignore that. They only talk about, tweet about, write about the side of that fits their narrative. And it's the same thing on the other side. They're only going to hold up that stuff as a sign of the toxicity, as a sign of the horrible side of the fandom. Oh my God, this gatekeeping. Oh my God, these toxic fans. It's really just, honestly, this is what I think. If you're one of these people doing this, you're a coward. And if you're one of the people that only likes, tweets, retweets, or supports things that fit into your narrative, and when your own side crosses the line, you're not going to correct them because that's your team, baby, you're a coward. We have allowed totally ridiculous behavior to exist and persist in the Star Wars community, mostly because we feel like it's okay if it's on our side. If it's our team doing it, it's okay. Bunch of fucking cowards, dude. You're posting inciting things. You know, everybody's just chasing that dopamine rush, that little bit of clout that they get from it. It's all a bunch of bullshit, man. People post, hey, hello, Star Wars Twitter. Just a reminder, had The Mandalorian failed, people would have blamed Kathleen Kennedy. As if that's not an inciting, fucking poke the bear bullshit-ass way of going about it. You know? And on the opposite end of that, it's like Kathy says one thing about bringing in a female director. They're doing a female-centric Star Wars show, and it's the end of the goddamn world, and you want to bring it up because it fits into your narrative. Just a reminder, Kathleen Kennedy is pushing the Force's female agenda. Where's the fucking adults, man? And honestly, this is the thing. You have turned the Star Wars fan base into a wretched hive of scum and villainy. Where are the normal people? And I know you're out there. To be fair, there's a ton of people that watch this channel, that watch other channels, that just experience the Star Wars fandom that are not like that. But there's a lot of people that know stuff is happening that's not right, and they're not stepping up to the plate. They're not saying anything about it because that's my team, man. The situation with Star Wars Theory and this Dave Filoni thing is laughably fucking ridiculous. Like, I can't believe it. And I think it really does come down to it. And I think we should talk more about all of the new fans that came in and are literally treating the older fans badly. Like, literally, nobody wants to talk about that. I find the whole situation awful. It's awful. And nobody's calling out their own people for doing stuff that incites, for doing stuff that fuels the fire. Nobody. Because that's my team, man. The toxicity's on the other side. The toxicity's not on this side. It's just, I'm going to just call it there because if I go on anymore, it's going to be even worse. I don't even want to. That's all I got to say. Here's the final thing. Here's my thing to the new fans. Your experience with Star Wars, I hope it's great. I welcome you to the Star Wars fan base. But if you come into the clubhouse and you want to try to retract or detract from the people that spent years in this fandom, that have a deep attachment to these things, that spent time, money, energy on these things, you new fans, if that's your thing and you want to attack fandom itself and you want to create drama, then I'll just say sincerely, from my own heart, please fuck off. Seriously, fuck off. And that's all I've got to say. Again, just meant for entertainment purposes. Please send all butthurt to Ken Cologne, and let's get back into the chat. Let's look. It's that awkward, it's that awkward time at the table. I apologize. I'm sure it's not the. Is everybody okay? Are we good? Are we okay? Are we okay? Is everybody okay? I feel much better. I feel much better having sipped this delicious organic Taylor Lane coffee, the official coffee of the Den of Nerds Live. So, look, we can get into Q&A. We can talk about some other stuff if you guys want to. I'm just sick of it, dude. I can't stand it. It's like every time I see this shit, I'm just like, this motherfucker that was like, okay, no. Let's stop. Reel me in, Chet. Reel me in, baby. Reel me in. So, no coffee, let the hate flow through you. Hulk out. I'll tell you, I had a really good workout yesterday. Where I was like, oh, man, I'm coming for you, Battinson. We talked about that yesterday. I'm going to be more jacked than Battinson by the time the Batman comes out. Woo! I was feeling it yesterday, man. I had a picture of Twilight that I'm going to hang in the studio. Twilight Robert Pattinson. And every time I'm working out, man, I'm looking at him. And I'm just like, oh, you skinny, sparkly vampire motherfucker. I'm going in. And whoo! Did we have a good workout yesterday? Be his stunt double? Yeah, for sure. So yeah, we had a really good. This got erotic. Yeah, we had a really good workout yesterday. I was feeling good. So anyway, let's talk. Hey, let's talk about some positive Star Wars stuff. You know, like anything but the fans. We ran a little video yesterday. Even more crazy Star Wars news. Some scoops came out from Fandom Wire, guys. Boba Fett solo series? Boba Fett solo series? Yes, please. Solo movie, maybe on Disney Plus? Yes, please. I'm into it. I'm absolutely into it. I think there's a big question here about whether or not the animated series or this live action series with Ahsoka and all those people, which one's going to be the search for Ezra Bridger? They can't both be the search for Ezra Bridger, right? Oh, I got you, Stormbreaker. All good, baby. All right, I feel like we need to just do Q&A. I feel like everybody's got something to say. We can dig into it. Let's just go into Q&A. Let's talk about what everybody wants to talk about. So go ahead and drop your questions in, guys. We'll get to as many questions as we can. The super chats help. If you got a few shekels and you want to throw super chats at me, even if you want to just super chat me to tell me to shut up, it's all good. Whatever you want to do. How about the Ahsoka series? I can't wait. Dude, Jedi Snips, I can't wait either. I'm a little bit confused. I want to reach out to some people and try to figure out what's going on because I'm confused about which plot, like who's searching for Ezra? What's the deal with that? What's going on? I call Thrawn the real Papa Smurf. Demands respect. I love it. Dude, if we get live action Thrawn, like this is the, remember we were talking about the Star Wars MCU? Do you guys remember that? We did that. We were talking about the Star Wars MCU, and everyone's like, oh, Trinity. Trinity, Second Street Marvel says, clown noses inbound. Oh, you know they're coming. Oh, they're coming, baby. What did you guys think of that rant? I gotta be honest, I think it was a 7 out of 10. I think it was a little bit better in my head when I was ranting about it. I feel like we did a good job. I felt like we got the points out there. But I don't know if if I nailed the rage as much. You know what I mean? I don't know if I nailed the rage. But I appreciate the support, Trinity. 8 out of 10, Trevor says. That's nice. Thank you, man. Josh, what the fuck did I miss? Stop listening to Star Wars Theory a long time ago. Yeah, no, that's your prerogative, man. Look, I don't watch all of his videos either. But yeah, so what you missed, I ranted a little bit because there's all this drama. Because Star Wars, by the way, Chet, they're not even listening to this dope music. Can we get that music going a little bit? Thank you, buddy. There is a drama that started because of a video Star Wars Theory did about the Dave Filoni thing. And then some people were like, this is toxic, this is fan keeping. Bunch of wieners, dude. Bunch of wieners. Let's see here. It's a decent rant. I've seen you do better, says Trinity. Spot on. Never go full Campia. 7 out of 10 is agreeable. Micah says, you're a toxic fan. Jordan says 10 out of 10. I feel like the MCU will get that way. Hopefully not, man. Hopefully we can keep it from going that way. So the actor who's playing Boba Fett, is he going to play Rex too, or is the Rex thing just a rumor? Depends on like what you mean with by this rumor business. I feel like that's sort of a like some people will tell you that even that anything not officially delivered by Disney is a rumor. Well, that's not true. When the trades break it, it's pretty much good to go. The Rex thing, I'll give it a 99% chance that Tamara Morrison is also going to be playing Rex in the show. Let's see here. Super chat. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. Why can't I read the thingy? It was too level-headed to be a raging rant. Yeah, maybe you're right. You live long enough to see. Dave Marvel, thank you for the super chat. Says Star Wars stuff I want to talk could be a full video. Yeah, I thought about that too. I thought about doing a full video. I'm guessing you haven't watched episode 3 of the Disney Gallery yet? No, I have not. You have lived long enough to see yourself become the toxic fan. 8 out of 10. But so like here's the thing. Do you guys get what I'm saying about the new fans? Like, I'm not saying new fans aren't welcome. Like, for sure, come on in. Like, the water's warm. I want more Star Wars fans. But like this idea, this like super weird idea that took the anti-gatekeeping to the extreme, and it's like now it's almost as authoritative as before. Like, guys, like, dude, Sam Witwer is not trying to be a dick when he's explaining to you that from his perspective and the lore and the mythology that George built, that Luke Skywalker isn't it. He's not trying to be a dick. And this idea that, like, lore and myth doesn't matter. It's how you personally... Like, I saw Matt Martin go on a tweet thing about this, too, where he was like, canon should be there to support your experience, and whatever experience you want to have with Star Wars, you should be able to have. If you want to ignore canon or make up your own canon or do whatever you want, then it's fine. I'm sorry. That's just stupid. That's just stupid. Of course you can have your headcanon. Trust me, the Raylos have had a headcanon for a couple of years now. You can have a headcanon, and it's great. Do your thing. But to devalue the actual lore and myth of Star Wars just so it's more democratized? Like, get the fuck out of here. I just honestly think there's just no adults. Like, there's just no adults.
I don't understand why we can't have Rey and Vader posters on the walls.
Totally, Michael. Michael, I agree with you. I think we should be able to have all of the posters on the wall. I agree with you. But I feel as though, and this is just my perspective, this is not a subjective or objective fact, rather. From my perspective, the newer fans are the ones that are sort of trying to detract value away and try to push down the more hardcore fans because they feel like that is a representation of gatekeeping and of lessening their experience. Like, that's so weird to me because you're literally a new fan. Like, I'm not trying to take away your experience as a fan. And to be completely honest with you, when The Force Awakens came out, I came back to Star Wars in a big way. I'd always been a big Star Wars fan, but The Force Awakens brought me back to Star Wars in a big way. But to not acknowledge that you're new here, you're new around here. You know what I mean? Like, that just feels so weird to me. It's like that attitude has been taken to the extreme. Like, nah, bro. Like, that ain't it. I'm sorry, but, like, there are different levels to fans. There are different levels to fandom. Why do we go watch Star Wars Theory? Because he's a big fucking fan. He knows a lot of stuff about Star Wars. He puts his passion into it. He puts all the things that he knows about Star Wars into the video. He does research about it because he knows Star Wars. That's why you go to him. He's an authority on it. But that's gatekeeping. Nah. I'm sorry, but no. I'm sorry, but hell nah. Drum and Company says, and thank you for the super chat, by the way, and you as well, Michael. Should fans be looked down upon if they liked the sequel trilogy? Like, a lot. Because I really liked it. The sad part is, I feel like I'm not allowed to. No. Here's my honest opinion on this. I'll just tell you straight from the hip, man. This is what I think of that. No, you shouldn't feel bad about it. But you also can't expect that to be how other people feel. And by the way, there's a thread here. There's a thread of truth in what some of the Fandom Menace people say. Now, I obviously have a lot of differing opinions of the Fandom Menace people, and especially when it comes to them sort of like crossing the line into some stuff that I really don't like. I really don't like that, and I think that the people within the Fandom Menace that don't call that out are cowards. But, having said all that, there is a sliver of truth.
The original trilogy. I never knew when I was younger they
Hey, wait,
talked
let's
about
let
so much
Robot
stuff from the
talk.
prequels. I now have so many questions. Should I GTFO until I finish Rebels? I'm late to the party on that lol.
James, thank you so much for the support. I'll get to that question in just a second here, man. Let me make my point. There is a thread of truth in when they say that fandom has always been this way with contention, right? So like that clubhouse, that proverbial clubhouse I'm talking about. If you think before the new fans arrived that everything was just hunky-dory in there and that there weren't debates and arguments happening, you're crazy. Fandom, that's what fandom is. They were arguing about it before you showed up. Return of the Jedi is horseshit. No, Return of the Jedi is the best. Empire's clearly the best. Oh, New Hope's the best. I hate the Ewoks. I love the Ewoks. That's fandom. You're allowed to feel differently about these things, and you shouldn't be made to feel bad about them. But if you come into the clubhouse and someone tells you, oh, well, in my opinion, the sequel trilogy is crap because it doesn't give the mythological basis in that framework that George did and that the original trilogy did, you don't have to agree with them. But you should understand that's an informed opinion based on years of experience within the Star Wars fandom. So there's a debate to be had there. And you should be able to talk about it. No, you shouldn't feel bad about liking the sequel trilogy. Absolutely not. But don't be so sensitive to the fact that other people might not feel the same way and that their opinion might come from actual experience in the Star Wars fan base. I don't think that's gatekeeping. I think that's just fandom. You know what I'm saying? So I hope that answers the question. All right, let's see here. Let's dig into what James said. Just rewatched the original trilogy. I never knew when I was younger they talked about so much stuff from the prequels. I now have so many questions. P.S. Should I GTFO until I finish Rebels? I'm late to the party on that one. So, look, Rebels isn't for everybody. I love Rebels. But it's not for everybody. I would say, if I had to give you the Star Wars curriculum, the Star Wars fandom curriculum, which a bunch of new fans would ree about even mentioning, but yeah, there should be some required viewing for... Anyway. If I were to give you the Star Wars curriculum, there's a few episodes in Rebels that I do feel are must-watch for Star Wars fans. But more than just must-watch, you should probably just be aware of some of the things that are going on in that series. My opinion. But you don't have to necessarily watch the prequels. Or, sorry, you don't necessarily have to watch Rebels. You have so many questions now. I mean, that's part of what made Star... This is another thing that, like, let me just get this out. This is why it's so frustrating to me. Because the way that Star Wars was created is that it's a tapestry. It's a whole galaxy. It's so deep. It's so big. There's so much to it. We're given little tidbits in the movies, and then you go and investigate it in the ancillary material. That has literally always been the way that Star Wars is. And part of the value of Star Wars as a brand, as a fan, is the fact that it is so deep and connected. Well, if you just strip all of that away because it's too gatekeepy to have an actual canon, to have principles and rules, if that's too gatekeepy, then you've stripped away the value of what made Star Wars Star Wars. You know, say that. Anyway, I'm behind on these super chats. Let me see what's going on here. I respect the sequels for being Star Wars, but in my opinion, they're just a multi-million-dollar fan film by Kathleen Kennedy. And you know what? Enrique, you should be able to voice that opinion and have someone in a reasonable way say whether they agree or disagree with you. And my thing is this. Let me give you my take on this, because I think that this is another one of those narrative things, right? Because the retractors of the sequel trilogy, they have this crazy idea that Kathleen Kennedy literally does not care about Star Wars. That's just false, man. That's just false. She cares. She cares, and she cares about the fans. The way by which she does that, some of the decisions she makes might not line up with what I would consider to be, walking the walk. But she cares. The truth is, when it comes to the sequel trilogy, everybody can actually agree on, even the people that really like it can actually agree on what the big problems are. There are a few things that people cannot agree on, like the treatment of Luke Skywalker, Rey's arc and things like that. There are people that have disagreements there. I think that's fine. That's what adds the spice and the flavor to Star Wars and to fandom. But it's like when people try to take it to the next level, right? Like if somebody were to take what Enrique just said, which, by the way, what did he start with saying? I respect the sequels for being Star Wars, right? Well, if we were on Twitter and we were a new fan or just in general one of these butthurt fans, we'd completely ignore that and just be like, oh, he said they're just multi-million-dollar fan film by Kathleen Kennedy. He's toxic. He's toxic. No, he's not. Do you see what I'm saying? Is it making sense what I'm saying here? I think we missed another super chat. I'm trying to get to them all. Sorry, guys. Okay. Here's what Star Wars Santa says. He says, fans need to learn how to encourage and support other fans. Even if we don't see eye to eye, you can dislike some Star Wars content, but don't hate on fans. Yeah, look, of course, I agree with that. But I think it's a little bit of both, right? Like, we want fans to be better. We want fans to be like, you. Honestly, like, I would love for more, just to be more adult and to be more Jedi-like, right? Like, George had this thing, George's birthday, right? And a lot of people posting different things about George. There was this thing that really resonated with me. There's this interview that he did with Charlie Rose, and Charlie Rose says something to the effect of, I hear so many young people today talking about how there's a lack of heroism in the world. There are no heroes left in the world. What do you say to the kids? And George said, everybody has the opportunity to be a hero every single day of their lives. You have the opportunity to be compassionate, understanding, help someone, try to be the Jedi. And that's my personal thing. I do believe you should try to do that. But we also have to be forgiving and understanding. You know what I mean? You have to try not to offend, but you have to try not to be offended. People forget about that second part. Everybody's so quick to be offended and give their hot take on Twitter. No. Try not to offend, but try not to be offended. Why did Luke lay down the saber, man? You know what I mean? Like, you gotta let it go. So yes, I agree with you. Fans need to be more supportive to each other, but fans also need to not get so butthurt by other fans. In my opinion, of course. I think I missed another super chat. I apologize, guys. The chat's going a little crazy here. But Josh, not being offended doesn't give me retweets. I know, and that's the perfect way. You know what you should really call these? Is not retweets. They should be retweets. Tweets. That's what they are. Norin says, I should clarify my comment earlier. I didn't stop listening to Star Wars Theory because of his content. I love his passion for Star Wars. I just prefer your stuff. Oh, well. Thank you. Thank you, Norin. I like Theory stuff, man. And I'm not bullshitting. Like, you guys, I'm so done with the bullshit. You know? I'm so done with the bullshit. Look, the truth is, I've been critical of Theory in some instances. You know what I mean? Sometimes I just don't agree with what he does and how he does it. But even when you take a step back from that, like, guys, we are so lucky that he's the guy. That's the guy. There's a ton of people making YouTube content about Star Wars. That's the guy that has the biggest channel. We're lucky that that's the guy. We are lucky that that is the guy. But what if I love being an asshole? Dude, trust me, I love being an asshole too. So, I get you. But that is not the Jedi way. Take it easy, Trev. See you later, brother. I missed your super chat, Jonathan. I'm sorry, man. I'm going to try to find it. Okay, Jonathan. Gotcha, brother. Fandom Menace is nothing but an angry circle jerk. That's what... I'm really glad I scrolled up to read that, Jonathan. But no, look, I don't agree. I don't agree. I think they've earned that reputation in a lot of ways. I think they've earned that. But I personally don't agree. I have friends in the Fandom Menace. You know what I mean? I've got people that are in the Fandom Menace that really, really care about Star Wars. And I think in some ways, they've been positioned as this like horrible hate group and these bigots and all these different things. And that's coming from that other side. You know what I mean? It's like that this debate, this whole crazy thing. The Menace ain't like that. But my thing about the Menace is that at the upper levels, they have monetized the hate of Star Wars to a degree that is very disingenuous, and that there are a lot of people in the Fandom Menace unwilling to call out their own members when they cross the line, because that's my team. That's my opinion. But no, I do not agree that they're just a circle jerk of hate.
Spoilers, lol. But that's my fault for being late. Also, is Yoda talking about Leia or Rey when he said Terry's another? If Leia, why make sequels about Rey?
Yeah, so James, what he is talking about in that is there is another. He was referring to Leia. And there's some stuff in the novels that had indicated that Leia could have potentially been even more powerful than Luke with the Force, with, you know, lightsabers and all that. That Leia could have been more powerful with the Force. So that is what he was talking about. But you said you're not done, so no spoilers. I get you, man. I get you. That's a tough one. It's tough, man, because the spoiler thing is tough because that show's been done for like a long time. So I get what you're saying. But it's just, if you really don't want spoiled, then you should probably like try to get what you can out of it and watch the episodes or whatever, and before getting into big Star Wars debates, because it's not like people are going to try to spoil it for you, but the filter's down. You know what I mean? Like, the filter's down. And did I miss another one from Enrique? If I did, I apologize. Let me see if I can find it here. Okay, here we go. I got it. Enrique also says, also, do you think if/when Legends or some important aspects of Legends would become canon, i.e. Plagueis, Dark Horse, that was all good stuff? Yeah, look, tons of good stuff over there, man. Tons of awesome stuff. But no, I don't think a lot of it's going to be, it's not going to be directly imported into the new canon, but a lot of it will probably be brought into the canon in different ways. Technically, Thrawn has been brought from Legends into canon. So. Yeah, but tribalism sucks balls. So, world famous. It does, man. But what's it going to take? What's it going to take? How do we break out of it? More people need to be real. More people need to be adults. They need to be willing to say stuff that makes other people feel uncomfortable. And mostly, they need to be able to call out their own team when their own team crosses the line. Where are the adults, man? Where are the adults? Where are the fucking Jedi? I don't see a lot of it. It's just me. Late to the dance. Is someone mad about something? Yeah, a couple people are mad. A couple people are mad. Can't change human nature. I don't know if I agree. Maybe you can't change human nature, but people can adjust. The adults are wearing sports coats and cowboy hats making kick-ass Mando episodes. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, man. I'm so pumped about this. Anyway, before we went crazy there, talking about the MCU, the Star Wars MCU. Remember we talked about this? People are like, what the hell are you talking about, Josh? Star Wars MCU? I don't know what you're talking about. Well, you're seeing it. You're seeing it. What's going on with all this Disney Plus stuff? Oh, this character's going to show up here, and then they're going to show up here. That connective tissue. It's all coming together. They're doing it. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it, man. I'm so excited. And if we get a solo Boba Fett movie, and I do think there's a place for it on Disney Plus, just put the movie out on Disney Plus. I am now officially okay with Star Wars movies or television going to Disney Plus and staying out of the main theaters. I'm officially okay with it. Give it to me. Give it to me. Enrique says, maybe I missed it, but why didn't anyone raise questions about the force field/shield Leia used in The Last Jedi? I remember having issues with that, but I hadn't discovered the lovely world of YouTube. Oh my God, the lovely world of YouTube. So, here's what I think, Enrique. I've heard a couple of different explanations for this. Number one, I've heard that, well, she's within the blast field.
Maybe I missed it, but why didn't anyone raise questions about the force field/shield Leia used in field game? I remember having issues with it, but I hadn't discovered the lovely world of YouTube.
Sorry, robot voice was going there. It's tough with the music and the robot voice because they both come through the same thing. So it's like tricky. But anyway, the explanation I've always heard was that she's somehow in the shield of that ship still. And she's able to obviously use the force to keep herself alive and like pull herself in. But I'll just be real with you. I can't stand that scene. It turned me off big time the first time I saw it in theaters, and it never got better for me. I've hated that scene every single time I watch it. And it's not what happens in the scene, it's how it happens. Like, I just think it's too ridiculous, too goofy, too crazy. Like, there could have been a lot better ways to show Leia using the Force, in my opinion. Josh, do you think Rebels will show up in Andor series? I'm obsessed with the idea and actually getting excited about Cassian. Will, yes. Here's what I'll guarantee you. Some characters from other stuff on Disney Plus will show up in the Cassian Andor series. And how do I know? Because it's the Star Wars MCU, baby. That's what they're doing. That's what it is. So yeah, there'll be something in there. Haven't watched the third episode of the Mando doc yet, but after watching the first 2 episodes, they really do need to just hand the reins to the franchise to Filoni. I agree. And I think that they're sort of setting him up. Like the Mando documentary series is to show the normies. Oh my God. Can we talk about the normies? Like, we're going to act like there's not a difference between the normies and the fans that buy all the books and... Anyway, look. I think the purpose, at least one of the purposes of the Mando doc, is to show the normies who Jon Favreau is, who Dave Filoni is, and why they're going to be playing a much bigger role in Star Wars moving forward. Leia didn't float through space. She used the Force to move the galaxy. Holy shit. That's wild. Josh, you're on point. I'm a new Star Wars fan because of Mando. I've watched all the movies and liked the sequels, but understand why the OGs wouldn't. Damn, Kendall, like, how are you going to be that logical and reasonable coming in here into the clubhouse? Well, I say to you, good sir, welcome. And I say to you, good sir, I hope you have a good time in this fandom. Ignore the buttholes. And let's just have fun watching Star Wars together. So welcome. Music Major says, gotta smash that like button. Thank you, Music Major. I was actually going to suggest that you didn't watch this video. But I guess you're not really a kid if you're doing finals in college. You're probably you're old enough to. You're old enough. They should just make me king of the fandom, and I'll tell everyone what's what. Jacob's Quest, I 100% agree. And where's the petition for that? Where's the petition, my friend? I'm 19. Well, then I changed my mind. You're not old enough. You shouldn't be watching this. Are comics dead? No. No. Comics are alive. Not familiar with YouTube slang. What's a normie? So a normie is just like your casual fan. Surface level fan. I'm just kidding, Music Major. I'm just kidding. Don't get mad. I'm just kidding. Over 21 content today. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Stormbreaker's 19, too. So that's what a normie is. It's like a casual fan, you know? I'd love to see you and Star Wars Theory do a stream. I'd love to do a stream with Star Wars Theory, man. I was this close to meeting him at Star Wars Celebration. We passed each other on the show floor, and I didn't realize it. And then Al Schuler was like, hey, man, we just passed Star Wars Theory, but we were, like, on our way to something, and I didn't get to turn around and say hi to him. But honestly, I think he's it's awesome that he's the one that has the biggest channel. I think it's well-deserved, and I think it's the way George would want it to be. Thoughts on Star Wars Theory's fan film? I love it. I'd love for it to be canon someday in my dreams, like that'll ever happen. Dude, that fan film is dope. Like, the way that... Wasn't there this thing in there where, like, there was all these blaster bolts coming at him rapidly, and doesn't, like, Vader, like, kind of freeze them all and then, like, shoot them all out? I haven't seen it in a long time, but I just remember being, like, blown away by it. It's really good. It's really good. Star Wars Santa said, I would love for you to do a stream with me. Dude, we got to. We got to, Star Wars Santa. We got to do a stream together. Got to get you on a stream. I want to see you and Star Wars Santa stream together. Absolutely. Dude, Star Wars Santa is, like... He brings such joy and positivity and warmth. You know, every time I've ever talked to him, every time I've ever seen his comments and stuff. He just comes with that warmth, man. You know, and sometimes I wish I could do that, you know. I didn't even want to do this rant. You guys know, this stuff has been eating me up inside, and I just don't want to do it. I don't want to go there. I don't want to talk about it because everybody's going to get so butthurt. Promise you. People in the Fandom Menace, they're going to pick out the things that offend them from this rant, from this video, from this stream, hold it up. They're going to get super mad. People that are sequel trilogy defenders, they're going to, oh, this guy's saying gatekeeping's okay. That's just welcome to the internet in 2020, you know? But, yeah, in some ways I wish I was more like Star Wars Santa. But we all have our role to play, I guess, huh? Theory's fan film and that reimagined fight scene between Vader and Obi-Wan are my absolute favorites. Yeah, dude. Yes. Second fan film is going to drop soon. He posted about it today. Oh, that's awesome. The Nerd Force podcast says, I used to be on board with Favreau being the one to take the reins of Star Wars after the Mando doc series. I think Filoni is a better fit, but not in live action production. Experience my thoughts. Okay, so here's the deal. Dave Filoni is going to be doing the solo Ahsoka series, by all accounts, and there are reports that indicate that Dave Filoni will be the showrunner and probably directing episodes of the live action sort of sequel to Rebels, but the Ahsoka show. Dave's going to do that. He's only doing one episode of The Mandalorian in season 2. That's probably because he's doing a lot of other stuff, including more live action stuff. And my thing is this. I think John and Dave need to do it together. First of all, they're like my favorite bromance in fandom right now. And I think John brings a lot to the table that maybe Dave doesn't have. And Dave is just the lore master and the keeper of George's, like, mythology. So I think they, together, like, if they could do the Dragon Ball fusion dance and then, like, put it into one person, it would probably be George Lucas. You just ran a red light? Don't be doing that, bro. Every fan film has a Jedi running through the forest. I don't know if I've noticed that or not, but maybe. Star Wars would be way better if they hired Filoni and Favreau, but Kathleen Kennedy is standing in their way by hiring them. I just wish we could get what we want. So, I don't even know what you're saying there, but I'll say this. I have said before, and I stand by this, that if Kathy were to come out and say that she is passing the baton on to Dave and to John, and that she has spent the last couple of years trying to make that transition work, and that she believes Star Wars is in the best hands now, I will give her all the credit in the world for doing that. I know a lot of people will not, but I will give her that credit. I will say, damn, dude, you know, she did some things I didn't like. She did some things that I did like. But at the end of the day, the greatest thing that Kathy ever did to Star Wars was set up these two gentlemen to take the reins into the future. And that would be her decision to make. So if she did that, I will always give her credit for that, even if other people don't. I had no idea John was a fan until Mando. I always thought he was just Iron Man's bodyguard. I loved him in the MCU. I loved his vision through him and Filoni and the true heirs of the Star Wars Empire. Yeah, dude, for sure. That's why they're doing it. That's why they're putting it on Disney Plus, so that you know that. They want you to know that. They want me to know that. They want the normies to know that. They want everybody to know it. Josh, what are your expectations for Mando Season 2? Where do you stand on Boba Fett being more than a cameo? All right, well, look, I'm going to take this question, but then is Trinity live? Because we got to get everybody over to Trinity stream. My expectations for The Mandalorian Season 2. I want the show to open up. I want the show to open up. I want it to be grander. I want it to be bigger. I realize that it's an intimate story, the lone wolf and cub thing. But for me, I want it to open up. I want to get more wide stuff. What's going on in the galaxy? What's up with Kamino? What's up with Moff Gideon? What's going on Mandalore? I want it to open up. I also want the episodes to be 45 minutes minimum. But those aren't necessarily expectations. Those are just desires. What do I expect from it? I expect it to be dope. I expect it to be excelente. And as far as like the handling of Boba, man, I hope we get to see him coming out of the Sarlacc pit or an explanation for how he came out of the Sarlacc pit. That's really what I'm hoping for. Is there something wrong with being a normie? Nope. Not at all. I think a large part of the Kathleen criticism comes from the fan base not quite understanding what a difficult job she has. I think that's fair. I think that is fair. I think another part of the Kathleen Kennedy problem is that Lucasfilm never did anything to try to change the narrative, So, like, look, I know that my opinion on this is not shared by a ton of people, and that's totally fine. But in my opinion, Kathleen Kennedy's worst enemy has actually been Kathleen Kennedy. Like, she's never, like, come out and, like, either not even necessarily addressed some of the things, but done something to create a different narrative. Like, Lucasfilm is so hands-off and so old school with their PR tactics that they've allowed all these narratives to happen and then be created, and then they don't do anything to influence the narrative. Well, that's on them. Like, that's the worst public relations decision ever. There's all this stuff happening. What do you think we should do? Nothing. Oh, man, people are saying all this stuff about you, Kathy. What do you want to say? Nothing. You know what I mean? What if they save the Sarlacc pit for the show/movie? I'm okay with that. I'm all right with that. All right, is my main man Trinity up yet? Do I have a clown nose on his thumbnail today? Oh, man. That shit was so funny. When I saw that yesterday and I saw the clown nose thing, man, I was just geeking out, dude. I was just geeking out. It's good stuff. KK will be around till she decides to leave. Seems clear. Yeah, I agree, Angus. I agree. I just hope that when she decides to leave, she also decides to put those two gentlemen in charge. And, yeah, I'll give her a bunch of credit for it. Jacob's Quest says she should get on a personal basis with the fan base, but she's old school. She stayed at a 60-foot distance, so it's easy to paint her as a mythic villain. I agree 100% with that statement. And I think there's some blame to sort of go around there. It's not all on her, obviously, but there is a portion that is on her, So, yeah, fair. Fair. The narrative outside the 10 dudes on YouTube is KK is one of the most successful producers in history whose content helped launch the biggest streaming service in history. Yeah, that's a fair narrative. I think that's fair. But, again, I think this is one of those things that's really weird because, if you get out of these social media echo chambers, like, and I tried to explain this to you guys before. I've got friends that are like literally the most liberal people you can imagine. And they despise Kathleen Kennedy. So there's another side to this that's people think that if you have a problem with Kathleen Kennedy, you represent this ABC thing, this list of this. You're deplorable. You're a bigot. You're a hater and all this stuff. Guys, I'm here to tell you, there's a plenty of reasonable people that maybe you agree with on a lot of different things that despise her. So, it's not as clear-cut as you think. 60-foot distance was so she wouldn't catch the Rona. Maybe. He's on! He's on. Let's get this link. So much fandom. I love it. All right, let's get Trinity's link in the chat. Hope to see you guys over there. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the support. A lot of super chats today, man. People were hyped to get in on here and to talk about this situation. So I appreciate that. I appreciate hell yeah, Adam. I'm sorry I didn't get you yesterday. We'll connect today. That's interesting. Are these liberal haters upset about her lack of diversity? Nah, bro. They just think she's done a horrible job with Star Wars. They just don't like the sequel trilogy, dude. There's a lot of quiet, normal people that don't like the sequel trilogy that aren't making a fuss about it on social media. Trust you. Trust me. Trust it. I don't know. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for being here and the support and just being here just to talk nerdy stuff, man. You know what I mean? You guys are awesome. That hat isn't hiding the quarantine hair, Josh. I know. You're telling me. One more time, I'm putting it into the chat. Get on over to 2nd Street. Get on over to Trinity Stream. Gonna tell you why I'm super wrong. Trinity, it won't take long. Get on over to his stream. As I always say, guys, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day. And I'll see you